Hey friends, tonight we begin with what a night was really like in ancient Greece. Before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe only if you truly enjoy this kind of slow, calming storytelling. Your support means the world and helps me keep creating peaceful spaces like this one. Tell me know in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is for you right now. I love seeing how this little quiet corner of the internet brings together people from all over the world. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan or some soft background, and let's gently into tonight's journey together. The sun dips low over the terracotta rooftops of Athens, casting a warm amber glow that slowly fades into dusky purples and blues. Torches flicker along the narrow, winding streets, their light reflecting off stone walls worn smooth by centuries. Of footsteps, the chatter of merchants packing up their stalls drifts through the air, mingling with the bleating of goats and the soft slap of sandals against cobblestones. Shadows stretch long, stretching across the courtyards where olive trees stand quietly, their silver-green leaves rustling in a gentle evening breeze. As night descends, the city takes on a rhythm all its own. Families retreat into small homes, the aroma of stewed lentils and roasted fish lingering in the air. Women sweep the thresholds, scattering grains and preparing oil lamps, while children chase one another briefly before their laughter fades into sleepy murmurs. Upstairs, in rooms lined with simple clay vases and woven mats, the faint flicker of candlelight illuminates faces softened by the day's exhaustion. The wealthy of Athens draw the curtains of their homes, carving their evening into private, deliberate rituals of quiet reflection, while the poor huddle near small hearth fires, grateful for warmth, for food, and for the safety of a brief night that feels anything but long enough. Beyond the city's gates, the countryside settles into an even quieter darkness. Sheep and goats lie down in olive groves and fenced enclosures, the occasional bleat breaking the deep hush. Farmers check their flocks one last time before the shadows fully claim the fields. The lowing of cattle drifts faintly across the hills, and somewhere a distant wolf howls. The road to the next polis stretches through hills and valleys, empty and mysterious, a reminder of how little separates civilization from the untamed night. On the Acropolis, the Parthenon stands bathed in the last of the evening light. Its marble columns glow softly, the reliefs on the friezes catching the torchlight from scattered guards and temple priests. Rituals continue quietly here, candles and incense marking devotion to Athena and the gods who govern the city from above. Priests chant in measured tones, a rhythm that resonates through the stone halls, blending the sacred with the silence of a city that is slowly, inexorably drifting to sleep. Even the most minor citizen feels the weight of night, the uncertainty of shadows, the sounds that are amplified in silence, the reminder that in darkness, life's fragile routines must persist. Back in the lower city, life is far less orderly. Thieves creep through alleyways, their movements quick and deliberate. The occasional cry of a drunken reveler echoes down stone streets, fading into the night. Lamps flicker and gutter in the wind. Small cats slink along walls, hunting insects or scavenging leftovers, and somewhere a lone poet walks, chanting softly to himself, a fragment of verse that will never be heard beyond the walls he passes. The night is alive, quietly, subtly, with stories unfolding that are invisible to most but vital to the pulse of the city. Every inhabitant of Athens experiences this night differently. The aristocrat in his villa above the agora drifts toward philosophical musings, contemplating the day's politics, the upcoming elections, and the will of the gods. In a crowded tenement, a mother rocks a child to sleep while another sibling listens intently to a story told by an older brother, the tale of heroes and monsters from old Homeric epics. Somewhere in the streets, a potter quietly sweeps his shop, preparing for the next day, while another, braver, more desperate, scurries with stolen fruit tucked into his robes. All coexist in the same night, each affected by the shadows and the cold air, each bound to a rhythm older than the city itself. Night also brings uncertainty. Fires may flare suddenly from an unattended lamp. A sudden scream from a back alley warns the cautious to remain vigilant. Guard patrols move silently, alert to the city's dangers. Animals stir unpredictably, wolves or wild dogs drawing nearer to the outer walls. For those living close to the sea, the faint splash of waves against harbor walls and the soft cry of seabirds returning to roost adds a strange, almost serene soundscape to the tension. The Greeks, for all their order and civilization, are never truly free from nature's unpredictability, even within the city's stone walls. As the hours pass, night deepens. The torchlight in streets flickers and dies. Families sleep under the modest roofs of their homes. Guards rotate silently along. The Acropolis and temple priests continue their chants in a rhythm that seems eternal. The moon rises, casting silver light over the Parthenon, over the Agora, over the fields outside, and over the city as a whole. Shadows stretch and twist, highlighting the jagged relief of buildings and the smooth curves of olive trees. In this light, Athens seems both peaceful and strangely alive, a city poised between the serenity of night and the potential danger it conceals. As the night deepens, the city of Athens settles into patterns that are invisible to the casual observer, but crucial to those who navigate its streets after dark. The air cools further, carrying the sense of distant kitchens, the faint tanks of the sea, and the earthy aroma of the olive groves on the city's outskirts. Lanterns flicker in small houses, revealing glimpses of lives that are both ordinary and extraordinary in their resilience. A cobbler works quietly by the dim light, repairing sandals for a family who depends on every coin. Nearby, a scholar pores over a papyrus scroll, fingers tracing lines of text that hold the wisdom of generations. Even at this hour, Athens hums not with the clamor of daytime, but with the subtle rhythms of survival, devotion, and quiet ambition in the Agora. The marketplace now empty, the echoes of daytime bargains fade into memory. Stray animals rummage for leftovers, while the occasional guard patrols, their footsteps reverberating off the stone pavement. One can imagine the stories whispered here, fragments of gossip and rumor, circulating long after the stalls had been packed away. Merchants who sleep lightly on the floor of their workshops keep one ear tuned to the night, aware of the delicate balance between rest and vigilance. The night is no mere pause from the day. It is an arena in which fortunes can shift, and the smallest decisions carry weight. On the streets, shadows play tricks on the eyes. A young woman carrying water from a distant fountain quickens her pace when a cat darts across her path. A pair of men carry a bundle of reeds for roofing a home, their whispers blending with the rustling of the trees. The city is a patchwork of light and dark, safety and threat. In some alleys, thieves prowl, calculating the risk of empty houses. In others, lovers meet quietly, speaking in tones barely above a whisper. The city's pulse does not simply slows, reshaping itself into a more intimate, more immediate rhythm. Meanwhile, the outskirts of Athens offer a very different experience. Fields and olive groves under the silver light of the moon are serene, yet deceptively so. Farmers, having completed the day's labor, check on livestock one last time. Cattle and goats lie down, their breathing slow and steady, yet one misstep by a child or a loose fence can ignite chaos. Wolves and foxes, opportunistic and cunning, move silently across the terrain, reminding humans that no amount of civilization fully insulates them from the natural world. A shepherd's dog barks softly, warning of the night's approach, and the low, distant sound of waves from the Piraeus port adds a rhythmic undertone to the quiet countryside. Within the Acropolis, temple life continues at a deliberate, sacred pace. Priests attend the fires, ensuring that offerings to Athena remain smoldering. Candles kept lit, and prayers recited in precise cadence. Their robes shimmer faintly in the lamplight, and the soft scrape of sandals against stone resonates through. The halls. Ritual is the anchor against night's uncertainty, a reminder that the divine observes the mortal struggles below. Pilgrims who arrived earlier in the day sleep nearby, their dreams interwoven with images of gods, battles, and victories. The Acropolis, though elevated and fortified, is as alive as the city it overlooks, a center of human hope, fear, and devotion. Back in the lower city, families navigate the night with quiet ingenuity. A mother ensures her children remain warm under layers of wool, whispering tales of heroes and gods to ease their minds. A baker stirs the final batch of dough for the next day, mindful that failure to rise or bake properly could mean the difference between a modest meal and an empty stomach. Laborers who return late from construction or trade move swiftly through the shadows, conscious of guards and the occasional roaming bandit. Even the simplest acts, carrying water, stoking a fire, mending clothing, require coordination, attention, and a subtle understanding of the environment. Nighttime in Athens is also a time of reflection for those who possess the luxury of thought unburdened by survival. Young philosophers wander quietly through the agora, discussing ethics, politics, and the cosmos. Poets recite verses in hushed tones, their words resonating with the marble and the silent air. Musicians pluck lyres or drum on small tambourines, creating rhythms that blend with the wind rustling through the olive trees. These cultural moments, fragile and intimate, reveal the contrast between the demands of daily survival and the human desire for beauty, knowledge, and expression. The city's boundaries mark another shift. Beyond the walls, wildness asserts itself with little compromise. The sound of distant hunters, the scuff of hooves, the sudden cries of animals startled by predators, all these underscore that human presence is never absolute. Travelers moving between settlements risk missteps, misdirection, or confrontation. Roads that seem familiar in daylight take on a mysterious, even threatening, character at night. Travelers rely on stars, moonlight, and memory to navigate, and every shadow can suggest threat, wonder, or divine presence. Even in the smallest homes, the night is alive with both activity and tension. Fires burn low in hearths, while insects, small and persistent, find their way inside. The sounds of sleeping children, snoring adults, and the occasional groan of a tired animal mix into a symphony of domestic life. Merchants tally coins, artisans sharpen tools, and scribes complete their final notes. Every family has its rituals, but all are united by the need to maintain warmth, safety, and sustenance until the first light of dawn. For the city's poorest, night is a mixture of danger and endurance. Alleyways harbor both opportunity and threat, Thieves move with purpose, seeking valuables or food. Street urchins scavenge, their eyes sharp for anything overlooked. Vigilance is a constant necessity, and fear is never absent. Yet, in the midst of danger, moments of quiet resilience appear. A small act of sharing bread, a whispered joke among friends, a fleeting glance at the moonlight reflecting on stone walls. Even the most precarious existences contain traces of human dignity. By midnight, Athens has settled into deeper rhythms. Torches burn lower, and footsteps echo farther, creating a soundscape of isolation and introspection. The air carries both chill and the faint aroma of cooking fires, long extinguished. The city sleeps unevenly. Some are in deep rest, others are alert, and still others traverse the shadows in search of purpose, profit, or connection. Stars overhead guide both the dreamer and the wanderer, reminding every inhabitant of their smallness within the vast cosmos, yet also of the patterns and cycles that govern daily life. As the city of Athens slumbers under the silvery light of the moon, subtle motions and sounds define the city's nocturnal life. In quiet courtyards, cats prowl carefully along the edges of marble steps, their eyes glinting in the shadows as they hunt small rodents that scuttle unseen by human eyes. The occasional dog's bark cuts through the night, a reminder that even in domestic spaces, vigilance is necessary. The wind carries the scents of olive oil and grain, mingling with the faintly bitter aroma of soot from dying fires. For many, this is a time of rest. For others, it is a period of survival, reflection, and preparation for the coming day. In modest homes, families huddle under blankets, whispering softly to one another, recounting tales of gods and heroes to soothe young children. A mother traces stories of Theseus and the Minotaur, using her voice to transport her children into a world beyond the cold stone walls. Fathers stir small fires to maintain warmth, adding twigs carefully to avoid smoke filling the room. Every movement is deliberate, a mixture of care and necessity. In wealthier households, the glow from lamps illuminates frescoed walls and finely crafted furniture. Here scholars read late into the night, tracing letters on papyrus, pondering mathematics, astronomy, and philosophy. The streets themselves hold a quiet tension. Narrow alleys twist between closely built houses, their uneven paving stones worn. Smooth by generations of footsteps, shadowed figures move cautiously, aware that even a minor misstep can attract unwanted attention. Street vendors and entertainers, now long gone from the marketplace, have left traces of their presence. Faint smells of roasted fish, fragments of music carried on the wind, scraps of cloth or broken pottery. In some areas, guards make rounds, their presence a deterrent to those who might seek to take advantage of darkness. Yet even their patrols do not guarantee absolute safety. Accidents, thefts, and misfortune are constants in this world. On the outskirts, the olive groves and wheat fields are bathed in moonlight, appearing serene yet fraught with hidden challenges. Farmers who remain awake tend to livestock or repair fencing, mindful of predators such as wolves or foxes that roam freely. The distant sound of waves from the Piraeus port blends with the whispering wind, creating an auditory map of the environment. Travelers returning from distant villages navigate these roads carefully, using stars to guide them and relying on memory to avoid getting lost. Every shadow can suggest threat, opportunity, or divine oversight, and the night demands constant awareness. Within the temples and sacred precincts, priests maintain rituals that ensure that gods are honored even after day falls. Offerings burn on altars, incense curling in delicate spirals, while chants echo softly against stone walls. Pilgrims and acolytes who arrived earlier sleep in designated quarters, their dreams intertwined with the spiritual activities they witnessed. The Sacred Heart of Athens, elevated above the city, is alive even at this hour. The contrast between this deliberate, ritualized activity and the chaotic energy of the streets below underscores the multiplicity of experiences in the night city. In hidden courtyards and under archways, the city's artisans continue their craft. A potter shapes clay in near darkness, guided by practiced hands rather than sight. A weaver mends textiles, the rhythmic motion of her fingers creating patterns unseen by the casual observer. These small acts are invisible threads in the larger tapestry of night, revealing both human ingenuity and resilience. Every action, however modest, sustains life and prepares the community for the inevitable demands of daylight. The agora, empty and silent, holds echoes of earlier bargaining and the voices of merchants now long gone. The scattered remnants of broken pottery, stray coins, and discarded offerings remind as ghostly reminders of the day. Here, the city's pulse is faint but perceptible. The movement of a stray animal, the distant steps of a solitary guard, the rustling of a linen tent flap. The agora transforms at night from a bustling hub of human activity into a space of quiet observation and subtle dangers. Along the narrow city walls, sentries pace steadily, listening to the city's nocturnal whispers. Their torches illuminate corners briefly, revealing details otherwise lost in darkness. Rats scurry in response, and the occasional owl glides silently above. The sentry's vigilance protects not only wealth and property, but also the fragile order of society itself. The night, however, does not yield entirely to human control. Strong gusts of wind, sudden rain, and the unseen movements of nocturnal creatures remind all that the natural world remains an unpredictable participant in urban life. In the heart of neighborhoods, musicians and poets occasionally emerge under moonlight, playing quiet melodies or reciting verses for a select few. These cultural acts are intimate, ephemeral, and often unnoticed by the majority of residents. Yet they represent the human need for beauty, narrative, and connection, asserting that even in darkness, life is multidimensional. A flute's soft notes, the pluck of a lyre, or the hushed rhythm of a poet's cadence resonates beyond the performers themselves, subtly influencing the mood and perception of passers-by. At the city's gates, travelers arrive or depart, guided by starlight and intuition. Caravans of merchants may have paused for the night, setting up temporary shelters with animals tethered nearby. Individuals carrying messages or personal items move cautiously, their senses attuned to every creak of wood, rustle of leaves, and whisper of wind. Each journey is a delicate balance of risk and necessity, illustrating the complex interplay between human intention and environmental forces. By the final hours before dawn, the city's inhabitants oscillate between exhaustion and preparation. Fires burn low in hearths, children sleep deeply, and adults, weary from labor or vigilance, rest briefly. Yet even in this seeming stillness, Athens remains alive. Animals stir, the wind whispers, and the distant sea continues its rhythmic approach and retreat. The city is a living organism, responsive to the cycles of nature, human activity, and the unseen forces that shape life. As the moon arcs higher, Athens' night reveals subtler rhythms, where every whisper and movement carries significance. In quiet alleyways, shadows stretch across irregular paving stones, and the faint sound of scuttling creatures underfoot punctuates the stillness. Some residents rise to tend minor domestic tasks, carrying water from wells, feeding animals, or adjusting the embers of dying fires. Each act is performed with precision, as light is scarce and missteps can be hazardous. Small children occasionally cry, their voices muffled by walls, while parents soothe them with gentle touches and whispered reassurances. Near the Acropolis, priests maintain the nocturnal rituals of their sacred spaces. The flicker of oil lamps illuminates carved stone, casting dancing shadows across figures of gods and heroes. Incense rises in thin columns, carrying aromatic smoke that mingles with the earthy scent of stone and dust. Priests chant softly, their words measured, creating a rhythm that seems to harmonize with the subtle noises of the sleeping city. These rituals serve both spiritual and social functions, reinforcing the connection between the mortal and divine realms even when the human world rests. In residential quarters, artisans and scribes remain active. A potter, working in near darkness, shapes clay with hands guided by memory and muscle. A scribe copies texts onto papyrus, relying on touch and practice to avoid smudges or errors. Each stroke of ink and shaping of clay is an assertion of survival, craft, and culture, emphasizing that the night is not solely a time for rest, but also for preparation and creation. Even minor errors can have long-term consequences, as miswritten records or poorly constructed vessels can disrupt commerce or ritual. Beyond the city walls, fields and groves lie under silver light, appearing tranquil yet concealing hidden dangers. Predators move silently through olive groves, while livestock huddle together for warmth. Farmers who remain vigilant through the night watch over their animals, repair fences, or prepare for early morning labor. The interplay between human vigilance and natural challenges exemplifies the constant negotiation between survival and environment, a negotiation that has defined life in Athens for generations. In the market district, now empty of daytime crowds, traces of commerce linger. Stray coins glint in the pale moonlight. Broken pottery shards hint at hurried transactions, and the faint aroma of dried fish and herbs lingers. These remnants act as silent witnesses to human activity, illustrating the complexity of urban life. Even when most residents are asleep, occasionally a guard passes, torch in hand, briefly illuminating these remnants before moving on. Their steps echo, emphasizing the tension and control inherent in city management after dark. In wealthier households, the night serves both rest and opportunity. Scholars and philosophers, unbound by the physical labor of the day, pursue studies. By lamplight, their work ranges from mapping the stars and calculating celestial movements to analyzing political philosophy and ethical treatises. Each calculated gesture, each careful note on papyrus, reflects the cerebral aspect of human endurance and adaptation, showing that survival in Athens is as much about mental acuity as it is about physical fortitude. At the port of Piraeus, moonlight reflects off water, turning the docks into shimmering pathways. Ships, moored and swaying gently, hold goods from distant lands, while sailors and dock workers perform necessary tasks to secure vessels for the coming day. The scent of salt water mixes with tar and fish, a sensory reminder of the city's lifeblood in trade and commerce. Even here, nocturnal dangers exist: falling cargo, slippery planks, or the opportunistic hands of thieves. Vigilance is required. reinforcing that night in Athens is not an absence of life, but a different layer of activity, fraught with subtleties and risks. Within hidden courtyards and small gardens, domestic animals stir and forage. Chickens scratch for food, cats patrol for rodents, and dogs maintain quiet, watchful presences. Their movements, though seemingly minor, create a living soundtrack for the city's nocturnal narrative. These animals are intertwined with human survival. Their vigilance, reproduction, and labor are essential components of daily life. Observing them provides insight into the intimate interdependence of human and animal existence in this period. Throughout Athens, a tension exists between stillness and motion. Some streets are silent, while others hum softly with life, whether from sentries, craftsmen, or late-night wanderers. Even in sleeping neighborhoods, the city's architecture shapes behavior. Narrow alleys limit movement, open courtyards offer places for observation, and high walls provide protection. Human ingenuity, environmental constraints, and the unpredictability of nature combine to make every night a delicate negotiation of space, safety, and social expectation. As the night deepens, city dwellers engage in quiet contemplation. Philosophers ponder existence, children dream, artisans envision new creations, and common folk maintain routines of necessity. The moon wanes and shifts, clouds occasionally obscuring its light, reminding all of the transience of time. Even as Athens rests, its nocturnal layers, ritual, survival, labor, reflection illustrate that the city is never truly silent. The night is alive with subtle activity, invisible yet impactful, shaping the course of life for every inhabitant. As the city of Athens drifts further into night, the stillness is punctuated by soft, almost imperceptible sounds. In the shadowed corners of the agora, rats scurry over abandoned scraps, their tiny feet producing a faint patter that echoes off the stone walls. The market, emptied of human voices, now belongs to creatures of the night, and even the occasional stray dog or cat patrols silently, eyes glinting in the dim moonlight. Traders who lingered too long during the day have retreated to their homes, their shutters closed, but the scent of olives, dried fish, and crushed herbs still lingers in the air. A silent reminder of commerce now pours inside modest homes. Families huddle together for warmth. Fires burn low in hearths, their dying embers casting a soft amber glow on walls made of sun-dried bricks. Parents whisper to children, telling them stories of gods, heroes, and past deeds, their words forming a gentle, melodic rhythm that contrasts with the eerie stillness outside. Even in the absence of grand spectacle, these quiet moments reflect the resilience and adaptability of ordinary Athenians, showing how survival relies not just on physical labor, but on maintaining emotional cohesion and cultural continuity. In wealthier households, the night takes on a different character. Scholars and philosophers remain awake, poring over texts, debating logic and ethics by flickering oil lamps. They examine the heavens, mapping stars and constellations, drawing connections between human behavior and celestial movements. Meanwhile, servants move silently through hallways, attending to necessary tasks, replenishing water vessels, sweeping courtyards, and ensuring that fires continue to burn safely. The contrast between the bustling daytime energy of merchants and the nocturnal diligence of intellectuals emphasizes that Athens' night is multifaceted, layered with simultaneous acts of survival, reflection, and ambition dot along the city's outskirts. guards patrol narrow streets and gateways, their presence a constant reminder that danger lurks even under the serene moonlight. Bandits and opportunists exploit darkness, and vigilance becomes a civic duty. The clatter of armor and soft thud of sandals on stone signal their passing, but the shadows conceal more than they reveal. Even a single misstep can result in injury or theft, and the silent tension of these streets mirrors the precariousness of life itself. The guards' movements, methodical and disciplined, reinforce both the structure of the city and the ever-present threats that define nighttime existence. In the temples and shrines, priests conduct subtle rituals meant to honor gods and secure divine favor. The flicker of oil lamps illuminates carved statues, and the scent of incense permeates the air, mingling with the earthy aroma of stone and dust. Priests chant quietly, their voices low but steady, invoking blessings for protection, prosperity, and health. These rites, though largely hidden from the public eye, shape both spiritual and social dimensions of Athenian life, ensuring that even in darkness, the city remains bound by faith and ritual. The intertwining of the divine and the mundane demonstrates that survival in Athens is as much a spiritual endeavor as a physical one. In quieter residential quarters, artisans labor by candlelight or moonlight. Potters shape clay with practiced precision, careful to avoid collapse or imperfection. Scribal apprentices copy texts, their hands steady despite fatigue, aware that mistakes could carry significant consequences. Each action underscores the importance of skill, memory, and meticulous attention, revealing that even at night, survival depends on craft and knowledge. The subtle interplay between work and rest highlights how every individual contributes to the broader functioning of the city, whether through labor, study, or vigilance. At the edge of the city, near the olive groves and cultivated fields, farmers maintain watch over crops and livestock. Small flocks of sheep and goats huddle together, their warmth a necessary defense against the chill of night. Farmers move carefully among them, tending to injuries, feeding animals, and repairing fences. The moonlight provides guidance, but also shadows that hide potential predators. Wolves, foxes, and other nocturnal hunters prowl nearby, creating a constant tension between human diligence and natural threats. These scenes emphasize that survival is not only a social or urban challenge, but also an environmental one, requiring knowledge, skill, and constant awareness. On the hills surrounding Athens, solitary figures meditate, enjoying the quiet beauty of the night sky. Their gaze follows the movement of stars, their minds contemplating philosophy, existence, and human behavior. These observers bridge the gap between the tangible world of labor and the intangible realm of thought. While citizens rest or toil below, they maintain vigilance of a different sort, preserving cultural, scientific, and spiritual continuity. Their nocturnal contemplation is a subtle but vital aspect of life, showing that survival encompasses both body and mind. Even in the bustling port of Piraeus, moonlight reveals subtle activity. Ships rock gently in the water, anchored and secured for the night. Sailors occasionally inspect rigging or ensure cargo is properly stowed, aware that storms or thieves could strike even under cover of darkness. The interplay of trade, preparation, and risk demonstrates that the city's lifeblood commerces never entirely suspended. The night is a time of quiet diligence, a liminal space where preparation for tomorrow is as essential as surviving today. Throughout Athens, the night is alive with interwoven layers of activity. Domestic routines, intellectual endeavors, religious rituals, and security measures all operate simultaneously, creating a complex tapestry of human existence. Even as sleep claims some citizens, others maintain vigilance, labor, or contemplation. The interplay of light and shadow, sound and silence, work and rest creates an atmosphere of tension and resilience. Survival in Athens is multifaceted, requiring not only physical strength, but also social awareness, cultural understanding, and mental acuity. Each resident, animal, and observer contributes to this nocturnal ecosystem, illustrating that even in darkness, life thrives in myriad forms. As midnight deepens, the city's sounds shift subtly, revealing another layer of life. The gentle lapping of water against the stone quays of Piraeus contrasts with the occasional creak of ship masts swaying in the harbor. Fishermen who remained on the water until dusk now huddle near fires, repairing nets and drying fish, their movements precise and unhurried. The faint smell of brine mixes with smoke from their small fires, a reminder that even in the dark, sustenance requires continuous effort. The interplay of natural rhythms and human diligence forms an invisible web, connecting city, sea, and citizens in a shared struggle to endure and prosper. Back within the agora, shadows stretch across the empty columns and cobbled walkways. The marble and limestone, warmed by the sun during the day, now radiate a subtle chill. Small animals emerge from hidden crevices, scavenging remnants left by earlier crowds. Occasionally, the echo of a dropped coin or shifted pottery jar punctuates the silence. Even in the absence of human oversight, the marketplace continues to function as a living entity, shaped by the movements of creatures both large and small. This nocturnal ecosystem highlights the constant interaction between human construction and natural adaptation, showing how Athens' urban environment is alive even when people sleep in private courtyards. Noble families maintain their nocturnal rituals. Lamps illuminate patterned mosaics and carefully arranged gardens. Courtiers and servants move with careful choreography, ensuring both security and propriety. Women engage in quiet sewing or embroidery, creating garments not only for warmth, but as symbols of status and artistry. Each stitch, each deliberate motion, demonstrates the care and precision required to uphold social hierarchy even in darkness. The quiet diligence in these households underscores the social complexity of Athens, revealing that survival and comfort are inseparable from knowledge, skill, and cultural norms. On the outskirts, near the olive groves and vineyards, farmers confront a different kind of challenge. Cold winds sweep through the hills, chilling exposed skin and threatening crops. Farmers tend their animals, wrapping them in straw and securing shelters to withstand the night's frost. The howl of distant wolves adds an ever-present tension, reminding them that the natural world is unforgiving and vigilance is essential. Every careful movement, feeding, repairing, patrolling reflects a balance between human ingenuity and environmental threat. This nightly struggle illustrates the intricate interplay between nature and civilization, showing that survival is a continuous negotiation with both. Meanwhile, philosophers and scholars gather in dimly lit chambers for private discussions, their words almost whispers but full of intensity. They debate ethics, politics, and the nature of human behavior, their dialogue weaving complex patterns of thought across generations. Though separated from physical labor, their work contributes equally to the city's resilience, ensuring the preservation and advancement of knowledge. The flicker of oil lamps casts dancing shadows on the walls, giving the room a sense of life and motion, even as the night outside remains calm. Their intellectual vigilance complements the physical diligence of farmers and laborers, demonstrating that Athens' survival relies on both body and mind. In taverns near the heart of the city, a quieter form of nocturnal activity unfolds. Patrons gather in low voices, drinking diluted wine and sharing stories. Musicians pluck lyres softly, blending notes with the murmured conversations. Even in these moments of leisure, survival is subtly at play. Traders count coins carefully, and visitors remain alert to both danger and opportunity. The social rituals performed in these spaces reinforce communal bonds, providing a psychological respite from the harsh demands of everyday life. In this way, even entertainment is woven into the broader fabric of endurance and adaptation. At temples dedicated to Athena, Apollo, and other deities, night brings a mixture of reverence and solitude. Priests and priestesses maintain fires, pour offerings, and chant quietly to invoke protection and guidance. The faint glow of oil lamps reveals the intricate carvings and statues, while the scent of burning incense fills the air. These rituals, though largely unseen by ordinary citizens, create a spiritual network that strengthens both faith and social cohesion. The presence of the divine provides a sense of order amidst the unpredictability of life, reinforcing the idea that survival encompasses spiritual as well as material dimensions. Even street performers and storytellers find ways to occupy the night. Small groups gather around a single torch to listen to myths and legends. The flickering light enhances the drama, and the shared experience reinforces social bonds. Stories of gods, heroes, and past calamities serve not only to entertain, but to educate, reminding listeners of the consequences of greed, disobedience, and hubris. Through these performances, cultural memory is preserved, and community identity is reinforced, showing that survival is as much about knowledge and cohesion as it is about food and shelter. Finally, in the most secluded corners of Athens, young lovers or solitary dreamers gaze at the night sky. They contemplate the stars, their alignment with earthly events, and the mysteries of existence. The quiet intimacy of these moments provides a counterpoint to the city's practical concerns, reminding all that human experience is complex, encompassing emotion, reflection, and imagination. Even in darkness, these private rituals ensure that life is not merely endured but lived, with beauty, curiosity, and hope intertwined with survival. As the night deepens, the Athenian hills are shrouded in a mist that softens the city's outlines, blurring the sharp edges of temples, walls, and dwellings. Moonlight catches the top of the Parthenon, creating a silver halo around its marble columns, the occasional owl calls from olive groves, its cry a reminder of the wild spaces that still exist alongside the constructed city. Even the quiet moments are layered with tension, for predators of both land and sky are ever present, and humans have learned to navigate the city's perils with alert eyes and careful steps. The rhythm of life continues, governed by subtle cues that ordinary citizens have internalized since childhood. Within the labyrinth of narrow streets, families huddle around small hearths, the flickering flames painting warm, golden light on faces etched with fatigue. Children, eyes heavy with sleep, cling to parents as meals of barley porridge or roasted fish are shared. These meals are small, yet they are sustenance, not only for the body, but for the enduring spirit required to face the uncertainties of another day. Even in the quiet darkness, lessons are imparted. The youngest observe the careful handling of fire, the methodical preparation of food, and the intricate weaving of stories and traditions into daily life. Knowledge is passed silently, a thread linking generations together. In the workshops, near the agora, artisans work by dim lantern light, shaping clay, carving wood, or sharpening bronze tools. Their motions are deliberate, guided by years of training and the pressing need to maintain their livelihoods. The tools they craft will be used for construction, trade, or defense, and every imperfection could have consequences in the unforgiving social and economic landscape of Athens. The faint clinking of metal and the soft scrape of tools against surfaces echo through deserted streets, forming a nocturnal symphony that speaks of diligence and resilience. Each artisan is a silent guardian of culture, ensuring that skills, knowledge, and artistry survive alongside the city's physical structures. Near the outer walls, soldiers stand watch, their eyes scanning the horizon for signs of intrusion or unrest. Even in sleep, vigilance is maintained, for Athens' enemies are not only distant but occasionally close to home, taking advantage of darkness and the natural vulnerabilities of the city. The watchmen move with silent precision, their hands on weapons, ears straining for the slightest disturbance. Their discipline, honed through rigorous training, reflects the constant negotiation between danger and survival, a negotiation that has shaped every aspect of civic and military life. Elsewhere, in dimly lit courtyards of wealthier homes, women continue their nightly routines, tending gardens, arranging offerings to household gods, or quietly sewing garments. The delicate fragrance of herbs and flowers mingles with the smoke of small lamps, creating a subtle, sensory tapestry that defines domestic life. Each movement is purposeful, every task reflecting both tradition and necessity. Even in the quiet of night, the city's social fabric is maintained by these meticulous routines, emphasizing the balance between personal diligence and communal expectation. At the theater district, a small group rehearses lines for an upcoming festival. The actors' voices are hushed, but their gestures precise, ensuring that every syllable and movement conveys meaning even under the soft glow of oil lamps. Drama serves as both entertainment and moral instruction, reminding audiences of the consequences of hubris, dishonesty, and neglect. The nocturnal rehearsals exemplify how cultural life persists even in darkness, underscoring that survival in Athens encompasses not only physical endurance, but intellectual and emotional continuity. In hidden alleys, small clusters of traders and merchants review accounts, exchange messages, and prepare goods for the next day's markets. Their whispers carry the weight of commerce, alliances, and competition. Coins are counted carefully, and contracts reviewed, for economic survival is as fragile as life itself. Even the faintest error could ripple through social hierarchies, impacting families and communities. The diligence displayed in these moments underscores the interdependence of individuals within the city, revealing that survival is sustained through networks of trust, skill, and vigilance beyond the city, on the hillsides, and in the olive groves. Shepherds tend flocks under the cold moonlight. Their voices call to sheep scattered across rocky terrain, guiding them toward safety and shelter. Wolves and other predators lurk in the shadows, and the shepherd's knowledge of animal behavior, terrain, and survival techniques is essential to protecting both livelihood and life. The rhythmic clatter of hooves and the low hum of shepherds' songs blend into the nocturnal landscape, illustrating how human ingenuity interacts with natural rhythms to maintain balance and order by the riverbanks. Fishermen repair nets or quietly inspect traps set earlier in the day. Their reflections ripple on the water's surface as lantern light dances across the gentle waves. Silence dominates, punctuated by occasional bird calls or the plop of fish into waiting baskets. Their work is measured, precise, and performed, with an acute awareness of environmental cues. Success ensures food for the morrow, but failure carries immediate consequences. Even in apparent tranquility, the night is a realm of constant vigilance and careful negotiation between human effort and natural forces. At the city gates, travelers and messengers arrive, navigating darkness with skill and determination. Their expressions are tense, yet determined, for the night holds unknown dangers, bandits, wild animals, or navigational missteps. The brief interactions at these gates exchanging information, goods, or warnings illustrate the interconnectivity of Athens with surrounding territories and the perpetual negotiation between safety, risk, and opportunity. Each arrival and departure subtly shifts the city's nocturnal dynamics, showing that even in darkness, Athens pulses with purposeful motion. As the night deepens further, the city of Athens becomes a subtle canvas of contrasts. Shadows lengthen across stone-paved streets, bending and twisting as if alive. Lanterns cast small, trembling circles of light that barely penetrate the darkness, offering both guidance and illusion. Citizens who move through these streets do so with practiced caution, attuned to every sound, the distant echo of footsteps, the rustle of a stray cat, or the sudden crash of a dislodged tile from a rooftop. Each sound triggers an instinct honed through years of navigating both urban complexity and the unpredictable forces of nature that converge in a bustling city of mortals. In humble dwellings, families continue their nightly rituals. Parents ensure children are safe and warm, whispering lullabies or softly recounting mythic tales to soothe restless minds. The small glow of a hearth illuminates faces, revealing expressions of care, anxiety, or fatigue. These moments, though private, are critical. They teach resilience, patience, and the value of vigilance. Even in darkness, lessons are transmitted. Children observe, absorb, and internalize the social and practical wisdom of their elders. Every whispered word, every careful gesture becomes part of a repository of knowledge designed to preserve life and cultural continuity. Along the outskirts of the city, gardeners and small-scale farmers perform their nocturnal duties, tending crops that require constant vigilance against pests and frost. Olive trees, vineyards, and fields of grain are monitored closely, their leaves brushing gently against the cool night air. The labor is quiet but intense, and the workers' movements are synchronized with the environment, guided by the subtle cues of moonlight and temperature. The night, while seemingly dormant, demands attention and skill. The survival of both food and livelihoods depends upon it. In the agora, under the veil of near darkness, traders settle late transactions or inspect goods left over from the day. Coins clink softly against wooden tables, papers rustle and hushed. Voices carry a sense of urgency and purpose. Markets are spaces not only of commerce, but also of trust, strategy, and reputation. The night adds an element of uncertainty. A poorly lit transaction could invite theft or deception, so traders rely on their experience, intuition, and mutual knowledge of societal norms. Each decision, each careful negotiation is a testament to the city's complex interplay of economics, ethics, and survival. On the riverbanks, fishermen continue their vigil, mending nets and checking traps placed earlier in the day. Their hands move with practiced precision, knowing that even minor errors could mean a loss of both food and income. The gentle lapping of water against wooden boats blends with the soft calls of nocturnal birds, creating a soundscape of careful labor and natural rhythm. The night, though silent in appearance, teems with activity for those who understand its demands and opportunities. In the residential quarters of the wealthier districts, lamplit interiors reveal scenes of meticulous domestic care. Servants polish bronze vessels, adjust cushions, and tend to small fires that illuminate paintings, tapestries, and other artifacts that mark status and taste. Conversations are low, measured, and purposeful. The smallest misstep in speech or action could carry social consequences. Here, the night is both a canvas and a stage. It showcases the disciplined attention to detail, the quiet exertion of authority, and the unending negotiation of social hierarchy that define life in Athens. Meanwhile, on the city walls, soldiers remain vigilant. Their eyes pierce the darkness for any hint of intrusion, while their hands grip the cold metal of spears and shields. They are the silent guardians of both citizens and city, understanding that even a single lapse could have catastrophic consequences. The clatter of distant hooves, the whisper of wind through battlements, or the shadow of a passing bird may all trigger heightened alertness. The night, though seemingly tranquil, is a theater of constant vigilance where life, property, and honor hang in delicate balance. Elsewhere, small pockets of intellectual activity persist. Philosophers, scholars, and scribes work by lamplight, recording observations, debating ideas, or copying texts. Their voices, low but passionate, ripple through private chambers, filling the night with a persistent pulse of curiosity and inquiry. These nocturnal intellectual exercises remind the city that survival is not merely physical, it is also cultural, moral, and cerebral. Knowledge becomes a lifeline, ensuring that despite challenges, the spirit and identity of Athens remain vibrant and enduring. In the shadows of the hills surrounding the city, shepherds move silently among flocks of goats and sheep. Their calls, soft but deliberate, guide the animals towards safety, while their eyes remain alert to any threat. Wolves, foxes, and other nocturnal predators linger in the darkness, testing the shepherd's patience and skill. The symbiotic relationship between humans and animals is starkly evident. Survival relies on understanding behavior, terrain, and timing. The night is both adversary and companion, shaping habits, movements, and instincts that endure across generations. Finally, at the outer edges of Athens, travelers and messengers navigate the darkness, moving between city and countryside. Their movements are calculated, combining local knowledge with intuition to avoid hazards and ensure safe passage. Each encounter along the way, whether with fellow travelers, watchmen, or merchants, creates fleeting yet significant interactions that ripple through both social and economic networks. The night, though cloaked in silence, is alive with consequence, and the city itself becomes a living entity, shaped by the discrete yet interconnected efforts of countless individuals. As the moon ascends higher, casting its pale glow over Athens, the city begins to reveal secrets hidden by daylight. Narrow alleyways and winding streets, once bustling with merchants and citizens, now appear deceptively empty, yet careful observation uncovers shadows shifting behind doorways, curtains trembling against the night breeze, and the faint movement of a cat slinking silently along the walls. Every corner harbors the potential for discovery, mischief, or danger. Residents who remain awake understand that vigilance is not optional. It is a prerequisite for survival and social preservation in the heart of the city. Small gatherings of intellectuals and performers meet in private courtyards. Their voices, soft but animated, echoed lightly against stone walls. Philosophical debates intertwine with storytelling, music, and the occasional recitation of epic poetry. These nocturnal sessions are intimate but essential, preserving knowledge, artistic expression, and cultural cohesion. Those present participate in a delicate balancing act, the need to be heard and understood, while avoiding attracting undue attention from authorities or curious neighbors. In these quiet enclaves, the vibrancy of human thought contrasts starkly with the physical stillness that blankets the streets. Elsewhere, artisans and craftsmen continue their meticulous labor. Potters shape clay with rhythmic precision, metalworkers hammer delicate patterns into bronze, and weavers adjust looms by candlelight. The night offers them uninterrupted time to perfect their trade, free from the interruptions of the day's commerce. Each piece created carries both utility and the silent imprint of human dedication. The dim glow of flames and lanterns highlights fine details the shimmer of wet clay, the glint of newly polished metal, the interplay of shadow and thread turning ordinary workspaces into scenes of quiet artistry. Outside the city walls, farmers and shepherds move cautiously across fields and pastures. Goats and sheep follow familiar paths, guided by the low calls and gestures of their human caretakers. Every snap of a twig, every shift of the wind demands attention. Predators lurk in the darkness, testing the instincts of both animals and humans. The night is an active force. It demands patience, knowledge, and adaptability. Lessons learned, hear how to track movement, anticipate danger, and respond swiftly, become invaluable life skills passed down from one generation to the next. In the harbor district, watchmen patrol docks and wharves. Ships creak softly in the water, ropes groan, and lanterns sway, casting fractured reflections across the rippling waves. These men and women ensure that trade routes remain secure, that goods are protected, and that no unauthorized vessel slips quietly into port. Their eyes and ears are finely attuned to anomalies. A footstep out of rhythm, a shadow moving where none should, the faintest sound of a rope dragging against timber. Each observation carries weight, for a single could disrupt commerce, imperil lives, or invite theft. Back in residential quarters, families huddle near small hearths. Children listen intently as elders recount myths, legends, and cautionary tales. These stories serve multiple purposes: entertainment, moral guidance, and practical instruction. They reinforce social values, teach lessons about courage, prudence, and the consequences of negligence. Even the youngest participants internalize patterns of behavior necessary for life in a complex urban environment. The night becomes a classroom, and the act of storytelling transforms into an essential survival tool, embedding knowledge into memory with nuance and care. In the agora, where daytime markets thrived, nighttime brings silence and subtle activity. Merchants inspect wares left behind, counting inventory and repairing minor damage. Cobblers adjust their benches, ensuring shoes remain in usable condition, while potters inspect fired clay for cracks. These actions, though quiet and uncelebrated, preserve the economic life of the city. The night does not pause human ambition, it merely shifts its focus, emphasizing maintenance, preparation, and vigilance over overt production. Across the hills surrounding Athens, small hunting parties move with careful precision, armed with spears, nets, and trained dogs. They navigate rocky terrain and hidden valleys in pursuit of deer, rabbits, and wild birds. Every movement is calculated. The success of the hunt depends on patience, timing, and an intimate knowledge of animal behavior. Even the slightest misstepper, misjudged foot placement, a poorly thrown spear can mean failure or injury. The night in these open spaces is alive with sensory input. The rustle of leaves, the scent of prey, the subtle vibrations of soil underfoot. Humans and animals alike engage in a perpetual negotiation of survival, each responding to the other. In real time, meanwhile, at religious sanctuaries, priests and acolytes conduct nocturnal rituals. Flames flicker against stone altars, incense curls in spirals through the cool air, and the rhythm of chanting fills quiet chambers. These ceremonies serve both spiritual and social functions, reinforcing community bonds, marking seasonal changes, and maintaining a sense of cosmic order. For participants, the night becomes a liminal space, one where human effort and divine expectation intersect, offering a sense of connection, purpose, and guidance amidst uncertainty. Finally, in the cities, periphery, travelers and messengers tread carefully between villages, estates, and the heart of Athens. Their path is fraught with potential danger, wild animals, bandits, and the simple hazards of uneven terrain. Each journey tests endurance, observation, and decision-making skills. Along the way, interactions whether with other travelers, locals, or officials demand diplomacy, intuition, and respect for social norms. The night, seemingly passive, acts as both barrier and guide, shaping human behavior, enforcing caution and fostering resilience. As midnight deepens, the city of Athens seems almost suspended in time. The streets are quieter now, though not entirely empty. Shadowed corners harbor the occasional traveler or wandering philosopher, their sandals barely whispering against the worn stone. Lanterns flicker sporadically, casting pools of light that illuminate graffiti. Merchant stalls left for the next morning, and stray animals rummaging among discarded scraps. Even in apparent stillness, the city breathes. The wind rustles through olive trees. The waves lap gently against the harbor, and the faint clatter of distant activity reminds all that life continues. Unseen and persistent, within private courtyards, families who have completed their evening meals settle around small fires or lamps. The warmth of flame offers comfort against the cool night air, and the flickering light brings stories to life on the walls and faces of listeners. Parents recount heroic myths, tales of gods and heroes, or lessons about civic duty and personal honor. These oral traditions serve as a living archive, transferring knowledge, values, and practical survival lessons across generations. Even as eyelids droop, the stories maintain attention, their rhythm and drama threading through the minds of children and adults alike. Elsewhere, in the artisan quarters, meticulous labor continues under dim illumination. Bronze smiths tap delicate patterns into the surface of ceremonial objects. Clay potters wheel vessels with precise hands, and weavers run intricate threads through looms to create textiles that will later clothe the city. Each stroke, hammer, or twist requires concentration, patience, and skill. By night, distractions vanish, allowing craftspeople to perfect their trade in quiet solitude. The glow of small lamps highlights the shimmer of metal, the sheen of wet clay, and the rich colors of woven fabrics, transforming simple workshops into intimate theaters of human creativity. At the city's harbor, watchmen patrol quietly along the piers, their lanterns glinting off the dark water. The ships moored for the night sway gently, ropes creaking, canvas sails fluttering faintly. Each lantern's light illuminates only a fraction of the scene, leaving much concealed in shadow. The watchman's ears and eyes are finely tuned, alert for the slightest anomaly, a furtive movement, the clatter of cargo, or a ripple indicating an intruder in the water. Their presence ensures that trade and travel continue safely, and that thieves or smugglers do not exploit the cover of darkness. The night transforms the harbor into a stage where vigilance and intuition are as critical as brute strength. Outside the city, farmers maintain a cautious presence among their fields and flocks. Sheep, goats, and cattle navigate narrow paths under the guidance of shepherds, their hooves pressing softly against the earth. Hunters move silently in search of wild game, listening to rustling leaves and animal calls. The night in these open spaces is active and dangerous, teaching resilience, patience, and observation. Survival requires awareness of the natural rhythms of prey, predator, and terrain, and the night enforces lessons that daylight alone cannot impart. Every sound and movement becomes a potential signal, guiding the actions of humans and animals. Alike, back in the agora, merchants inspect wares left behind, counting coins, examining goods, and making adjustments for the next day. Cobblers polish shoes, potters inspect fired clay, and scribes copy notes by the faint glow of oil lamps. These tasks, though mundane, are crucial for the functioning of the city. The night permits preparation and reflection, allowing the human machinery of commerce to maintain its precision. Even in the absence of customers, the agora remains alive with purpose and the steady rhythm of dedicated work. Among the city's religious spaces, nocturnal rituals continue with deliberate calm. Priests and acolytes tend to altars, incense curls through air scented with oil and herbs, and the rhythmic chanting resonates softly against stone walls. These ceremonies reinforce communal bonds, mark seasonal observances, and maintain a connection between the human and divine. Nighttime provides a liminal space where devotion, reflection, and ritual converge, offering participants both guidance and solace in a world that can be unpredictable and unforgiving elsewhere. Scholars and scribes make use of the quiet hours to study texts, copy manuscripts, and debate ideas in small circles. Philosophy, mathematics, astronomy, and literature are discussed in hushed tones, often by candlelight. The night provides uninterrupted focus, allowing minds to explore complex concepts, trace patterns in nature, or solve problems without distraction. Knowledge grows steadily under these circumstances, its preservation and dissemination dependent on the dedication of a few diligent individuals, committed to the advancement of human understanding. In residential areas, the rhythm of domestic life persists in subtler forms. Children, restless or awake, quietly practice skills taught during the day or observe the stars through small windows. Elders recount tales and traditions that shape the moral and social structure of the family. Even in sleep, households maintain vigilance. Dogs patrol the courtyards, and some members stay alert to external threats. The night offers both rest and preparation, a period where observation and learning coexist with the slow winding down of human activity. Finally, travelers. and messengers move cautiously along the roads connecting Athens to neighboring villages and estates. These journeys demand constant attention. Uneven terrain, potential bandits, and wild animals pose ongoing risks. Each step is measured, each interaction observed, and every decision carries weight. The night serves as a crucible, testing endurance, adaptability, and social intelligence. Lessons learned along these roads about timing, trust, and observation contribute to the survival and success of individuals and communities alike. As the night deepens, Athens reveals yet another layer of its character. Along the dimly lit streets, travelers returning from distant farms and workshops move cautiously, their footsteps muted against the cobblestones. Each traveler carries the weight of the day's labor, woven baskets of produce, clay vessels carefully balanced, or bundles of firewood for the family hearth. The moon casts a silver sheen across walls and alleys, illuminating inscriptions etched long ago, and the faint outlines of faded murals whisper stories of gods, heroes, and historical deeds. Movement through the city requires constant awareness. Shadows might conceal a lurking thief, a stray animal, or an unexpected obstacle. Survival in this environment demands patience, alertness, and the ability to read subtle signs that daylight often conceals. In private courtyards, families gather around small fires to warm themselves against the night chill. Flames dance upon walls, creating ever-shifting shadows that play across faces and figures. Here, storytelling dominates, not merely for entertainment, but as a vehicle for knowledge transfer. Elders recount heroic tales, instruct the young in morality and civic duty, and warn of dangers in the city and countryside. Children listen with rapt attention, internalizing lessons on courage, prudence, and survival. The night fosters intimacy, reflection, and a shared cultural memory that strengthens community bonds and personal identity. Meanwhile, in the artisan districts, workshops remain hubs of quiet industry. The rhythmic tapping of hammers against bronze resonates faintly in the darkness as smiths perfect ceremonial weapons, intricate jewelry, or domestic utensils. Potters spin wheels in the glow of small oil lamps, shaping clay into functional and decorative forms. Weavers trace delicate patterns through threads, each movement deliberate and precise. Nighttime allows uninterrupted focus, free from daytime distractions or impatient buyers, and permits craftspeople to perfect their work with a sense of pride and meticulous attention to detail. The harbor, often a bustling center during daylight hours, now holds a tense stillness. Watchmen patrol the docks with lanterns, scanning the dark water for signs of movement. Ships moored in the harbor sway gently, the creaking of ropes and the occasional splash of water punctuating the silence. The watchman's alertness is paramount. Any lapse could mean lost cargo or stolen goods. The night transforms the harbor into a testing ground of vigilance, endurance, and judgment, with each decision potentially carrying grave consequences. Outside the city, the surrounding farmlands and pastures are alive with quiet activity. Shepherds move carefully among their flocks, ensuring that no sheep or goats wander into dangerous terrain. Hunters follow animal tracks, moving with silent patience, aware of the risks posed by predators and the elements. The night teaches lessons, impossible to replicate in daylight. Careful observation, measured risk-taking, and the value of intuition. Survival depends not only on physical strength, but also on the ability to interpret subtle environmental cues. Within the agora, even as merchants rest, minor tasks continue. Cobblers polish shoes, potters inspect their newly fired wares, and scribes make notes for the next day's transactions. These small acts of diligence ensure that commerce can resume smoothly with the dawn. Nighttime offers an opportunity to reflect, correct mistakes, and prepare for the bustling activity ahead. The quiet of the agora highlights the underlying structures that sustain city life, unseen yet critical. Temples and sacred spaces provide yet another dimension of nighttime Athens. Priests and acolytes move through shadowed corridors, tending to altars, lighting incense, and chanting softly. The air is thick with the scent of oils and herbs. The rhythm of ritual filling spaces where ordinary sounds of the city cannot reach. These moments serve as both spiritual devotion and communal reassurance. The night, with its inherent stillness and focus, amplifies the sense of connection between mortals and the divine, providing comfort and guidance amidst uncertainty. Academics and scholars, finding solace in the absence of distractions, pursue the study of texts, philosophical debates, and mathematical problems. Their flickering candlelight illuminates scrolls, revealing diagrams, equations, and careful annotations. The night enables uninterrupted contemplation and collaboration, allowing ideas to mature and insights to emerge. This continuous pursuit of knowledge, occurring in quiet and discipline, lays the foundation for cultural and intellectual progress, preserving wisdom for generations to come. Even within domestic spaces, the night is far from inert. Children practice skills learned during the day, quietly drawing or observing the night sky, internalizing lessons from both elders and natural surroundings. Dogs and other animals remain alert, serving as both companions and protectors. The rhythm of human life at night, resting, reflecting, and preparing, reveals how closely daily survival intertwines with attentiveness, adaptability, and the flow of natural time. Finally, messengers and travelers on the roads leading to distant towns navigate in complete darkness, guided by the stars and their deep knowledge of the terrain. Every footstep, sound, and shadow carry significance. These journeys expose individuals to unforeseen challenges and dangers. The threat of bandits, sudden weather changes, or the silent movements of wild animals. Success requires not just physical endurance, but also sharp judgment, memory, and foresight. The night tests human skill, resourcefulness, and courage in ways the day rarely demands. As the night grows deeper, Athens becomes a city of contrasts. While some streets sleep under the dim moonlight, others bustle quietly with nocturnal activity. Merchants in the lower districts tend to last-minute accounts, checking coins and adjusting ledgers by candlelight. Their faces are etched with concentration, eyes straining to discern faded markings on worn coins. Hands steady despite the fatigue of the day. For them, the night offers both opportunity and risk. A chance to finalize deals before dawn, but also the threat of thieves who prowl in shadows. Seeking unattended wealth. In the residential quarters, families huddle together for warmth. Fires crackle in earthen hearths, sending flickering light across walls decorated with painted motifs of gods, heroes, and natural symbols. Mothers whisper guidance to children, instructing them on household duties or reminding them of moral lessons. From earlier stories, fathers check locks, make sure the animals are safe, and occasionally step outside to observe the quiet streets. The night brings reflection, allowing households to consider the successes and failures of the day and to plan for tomorrow. Every action is calculated, every decision potentially a matter of survival or well-being. Outside city walls, The countryside displays a stark contrast to urban life. Farmers and shepherds navigate moonlit fields, attentive to the signs of approaching danger. The wind through tall grasses or the rustle of leaves may signal a predator or alert neighbors of nearby travelers. The quiet is deceptive. Survival depends on interpreting these subtle cues. Hunters track nocturnal prey, moving silently, listening intently, and observing even the faintest rustling in trees or along riverbanks. Their patience is tested, their understanding of the land critical, and each successful capture a testament to knowledge, skill, and perseverance within sacred precincts. The night assumes a solemn, almost otherworldly atmosphere. Priests and acolytes perform rituals, their chants echoing softly against stone walls. The smoke of incense rises in delicate spirals, carrying the scents of myrrh, frankincense, and sacred oils. Flickering lamps illuminate carved reliefs, casting shadowed scenes of divine interaction across corridors. These nocturnal practices provide both spiritual guidance and psychological comfort. Citizens visiting the temples at night feel the weight of history and the presence of higher powers, reinforcing communal cohesion and individual reflection. Artisans continue their labor under small, focused lights. Potters refine shapes on spinning wheels, while weavers perfect intricate textile patterns. Smiths carefully inspect the final edges of bronze tools and decorative items. The night grants uninterrupted focus and the freedom to perfect their craft without the distractions of the bustling day markets. Each object produced is a testament to human creativity, patience, and the relentless pursuit of excellence. Nighttime productivity sustains economic and cultural life, proving that even in darkness, the city thrives in subtle, persistent ways. In the Agora, even when the day's commerce has ended, scholars and scribes remain vigilant. They pore over scrolls, debating the philosophies of Plato or Aristotle, analyzing mathematical conundrums, or transcribing important civic records. Their quiet voices, the scratching of styluses on papyrus, and the occasional muttered exclamation, punctuate the darkness. Nighttime intellectual activity allows deep reflection, uninterrupted by external interruptions, fostering the growth of ideas and preservation of knowledge that will endure for generations. Meanwhile, the city's guards and watchmen patrol the streets, their torches casting pools of light that break the surrounding darkness. Their movements are deliberate and cautious, attentive to the slightest sound a footstep out of rhythm, the whisper of a drawn curtain, or the soft hiss of a prowling animal. Vigilance at night is not only about maintaining order, but also about preventing crime, fire, or other hazards that could jeopardize life and property. These silent guardians embody discipline, endurance, and the constant human negotiation with uncertainty and danger. In smaller lanes and courtyards, children, if awake, watch the interplay of shadows and light, their imaginations ignited by the nocturnal world around them. Even at this young age, they learn the subtle art of observation, discerning safe paths and dangerous ones, understanding the rhythms of human behavior and animal activity, and absorbing the cultural stories told by elders in hushed tones. The night, in essence, becomes a school without walls, imparting lessons on survival, ethics, and community engagement. The outskirts of Athens, particularly near riverbanks and forests, present a stark test of human resourcefulness. Travelers navigating these paths must remain alert to the hidden dangers of nocturnal predators, sudden changes in terrain, and the unpredictability of weather. The ability to read environmental signs broken twigs, distant sounds, or sudden gusts of wind is essential. Every decision made in these darkened landscapes carries weight, and survival often hinges on a blend of intuition, learnt knowledge, and careful planning. Finally, the city at night also nurtures quieter, more introspective forms of human endeavor. Poets and musicians, secluded in their chambers, compose works that will later be celebrated in festivals or recited in public spaces. Their creations reflect the interplay between the known world and the imagination, inspired by the serene or ominous qualities of nighttime Athens. In these moments, the night fosters reflection, creativity, and cultural expression, demonstrating that darkness is not merely a time of survival, but also a fertile ground for human innovation and emotional depth. As dawn approaches, the nocturnal rhythm of Athens begins to shift. Shadows recede, and the first faint hints of sunlight touch the tops of marble columns, illuminating intricate carvings worn smooth by decades of weather and human touch. Night watchmen, their torches guttering, return to barracks or private homes, exchanging quick nods with early risers who venture out to fetch water from fountains or tend to livestock. The city seems to hold its breath during this transition, a delicate balance between the final stillness of night and the awakening of day. Market preparations commence quietly at first. Stallholders drag carts into position, arranging goods with methodical care. Baskets of figs, clusters of olives, and freshly baked bread are displayed in precise order, each item chosen not merely for sustenance, but also for visual appeal to attract buyers once commerce officially begins. Vendors whisper to one another about expected demand, the quality of recent harvests, and the potential for haggling with known customers. Their energy is subdued, tempered by the knowledge that soon the city will erupt with the vibrancy of daytime activity. In residential quarters, households awaken in stages. Servants stoke hearth fires and prepare morning meals, while women dress in flowing kittens, adjusting belts and folding fabric to maintain both comfort and decorum. Children are gently roused by parents' hands or whispered instructions, urged to perform morning rituals, fetch water, or tend to domestic animals. Every household chore is imbued with a sense of communal responsibility, a recognition that personal diligence contributes to the functioning and safety of the wider city. Along the city's edges, roads leading out to the countryside come alive. Farmers with carts laden with produce make their way toward urban markets, careful to avoid ruts and rocks in the dim pre-dawn light. Shepherds guide flocks back to village pens, counting animals and ensuring that no stragglers are lost in the encroaching light. Hunters return from overnight excursions with small game or evidence of successful tracking, quietly celebrating minor victories while maintaining vigilance against the elements and wild animals. Night's lessons in attentiveness, patience, and observation continue to inform each action, bridging the divide between darkness and day. Within the sacred precincts of temples, priests prepare for morning rituals, lighting incense and arranging offerings with meticulous precision. The subtle fragrances mingle with the cool morning air, creating a sensory atmosphere that signals both reverence and continuity. Devotees arrive in trickles, some to pray for protection, others to offer thanks, all participating in a cycle that has persisted for generations. The night's lingering serenity enhances the solemnity of these early rituals, a reminder that even as day emerges, the spiritual heartbeat of the city remains constant, Scholars and scribes are among the first to truly take advantage of the transitional hours. With lanterns and candles, they pore over scrolls, revisiting debates on philosophy, mathematics, and governance. The quiet allows concentrated thought, free from the interruptions that daylight and commerce bring. Ideas once whispered among colleagues at night now gain clarity, and complex arguments are refined, demonstrating the city's ongoing commitment to intellectual growth. Even the rising sun cannot disturb the focus that night has cultivated. In quieter neighborhoods, artisans finish last touches on items crafted under moonlight. Potters, blacksmiths, and weavers make final adjustments, signing their work or arranging it for sale. Each creation tells a story of skill, dedication, and the fusion of practical necessity with aesthetic consideration. The night has afforded them uninterrupted concentration, a space where perfection can be pursued without external pressures. These artisans bridge the nocturnal world of creation with the daytime marketplace, where their labor will be recognized, purchased, and utilized. Meanwhile, children are learning the subtle interplay of environment and culture. Those awake before dawn observe patterns of light and shadow, listen to early birdsong, and watch adults navigate complex routines. These experiences become lessons in observation, survival, and social conduct. The pre-dawn hours serve as a microcosm of the city's larger rhythms, a blend of natural cycles, human labor, and communal interaction that will repeat endlessly, each generation inheriting the knowledge of the previous. Even the city's guards continue to play a pivotal role during these early hours. Patrolling streets, they remain vigilant, ensuring that any remaining nocturnal threats, whether from wild animals, human malefactors, or accidental hazards, are neutralized before the city fully awakens. Their presence is both protective and symbolic, a reminder that safety, discipline, and order are continuous concerns, regardless of the hour. The city's survival depends on such dedication, a persistent vigilance that underscores every human endeavor. Finally, as the sun breaches the horizon, Athens is transformed. Streets and plazas fill with merchants, citizens, and visitors, each contributing to the city's pulsating energy. The quiet lessons of night inform the day. Patience guides negotiation. Vigilance ensures safety, and understanding of natural and human patterns enhances daily efficiency. The city that once seemed shadowed, secretive, and perilous now flourishes in full view, its rhythm harmonized by the nocturnal experiences that have shaped its people. As the day begins, the lingering traces of night remain etched in the city's structures and psyche. The white marble of temples and civic buildings catches the first golden rays of sunlight, highlighting reliefs depicting gods, heroes, and scenes of mythic grandeur. Shadows retreat into corners, yet the lessons and activities of the night continue to resonate. Citizens who have endured the nocturnal hours carry forward the insights gained under the dim moonlight and flickering torches. Merchants set up their stalls with renewed energy. The display of olives, dried figs, pottery, and textiles is arranged, not only for functionality, but also to appeal visually to the steady stream of buyers. Early customers negotiate prices, their voices a mixture of cheer, frustration, and delight. The echoes of nocturnal preparation, sorting, cleaning, repairing manifest now as efficiency and order. What seemed arduous during the night transforms into organized commerce, a testament to human endurance and foresight. Domestic life flourishes as families emerge from the dim quiet of night. Mothers, Fathers and children perform morning routines with precision. Fires are stoked, water drawn from wells, and animals tended to. Children assist in chores, learning the rhythms of their household and community. In quiet corners, elders recount stories from the night, instilling knowledge about local customs, natural signs, and survival techniques. These narratives, often subtle and nuanced, transmit the cumulative wisdom of generations, shaping young minds in preparation for a day full of activity and social interaction. In the peripheral areas of Athens, farmers and shepherds continue the transition from nocturnal vigilance to daylight labor. Fields glisten with dew, and the air carries the scent of fertile soil. Flocks are guided toward pastures, while carts filled with produce navigate the uneven paths leading to city gates. Night's lessons, alertness to predators, careful observation of weather patterns, and understanding Terrant translate into safer and more effective daytime activity. The rhythm of life in the countryside mirrors that of the city, each action informed by the careful balance between human needs and natural forces. Temples and sacred precincts remain centers of continuity between night and day. Priests continue rituals that began under the moon, offering prayers and sacrifices with deliberate care. Devotees arrive to witness or participate, their footsteps gentle against the stone floors. The spiritual atmosphere cultivated during the night persists, providing both comfort and moral guidance. Morning light illuminates sacred art and inscriptions, reminding worshippers of divine presence and human responsibility. These rituals anchor the city's inhabitants, reinforcing social cohesion and ethical frameworks. Amidst the bustle of daily life, artisans and craftsmen resume work under the clarity of daylight. Blacksmiths hammer bronze and iron with practiced precision. Potters spin their wheels to shape clay, and weavers interlace threads into intricate patterns. Nighttime preparation, gathering raw materials, inspecting tools, and planning designs ensures that daytime productivity is maximized. The city's aesthetic and practical output, from tools to decorative objects, reflects the dedication and skill honed during both night and early morning. Creativity thrives in the intersection of solitude, practice, and environmental observation. Scholars, philosophers, and scribes carry forward their nocturnal studies into public debate and instruction. Discussions about governance, ethics, mathematics, and astronomy take place in courtyards, gardens, and civic halls. Nighttime reflection, uninterrupted study, and careful transcription contribute to clarity of thought and precision in argument. As citizens engage with these ideas, the cumulative knowledge of the city expands, ensuring continuity of intellectual traditions and the refinement of practical and philosophical understanding. Meanwhile, the guards who patrolled through darkness adjust their vigilance for daylight concerns. Crowded streets present different challenges than empty, shadowed alleys. Their eyes scan for both petty crime and potential threats to civic infrastructure. Communication between watchmen, previously conveyed through whispers and gestures, now becomes visible, coordinated, and responsive to the unfolding day. Discipline, learned and maintained through long nights of vigilance, ensures a safe environment for citizens transitioning from night to day. The city's cultural life continues to awaken. Musicians play delicate melodies on lyres and flutes, their music floating through streets and plazas, blending with voices and movement. Children practice games and exercises they observed or imagined during nighttime, while storytellers recount tales that intertwine real experience with myth. shaping collective memory and imagination. Night has provided the temporal space for creativity, reflection, and skill building, which now manifests in vibrant daytime expression. Finally, as Athens reaches the full clarity of morning, the interconnection between night and day becomes evident. Survival, productivity, spirituality, education, and culture are all informed by the hours when most were at rest. Night offered observation, reflection, and preparation, shaping both individual actions and communal life. The city's inhabitants carry forward the insights and endurance cultivated under darkness, ensuring that each day builds upon the wisdom, skill, and resilience honed during the night. In this continuum, the city lives, thrives, and evolves, a testament to the enduring human capacity to adapt, reflect, and innovate. As the sun rises higher, the city of Athens becomes a mosaic of sounds, movements, and interactions. Yet the imprint of the night remains subtle but persistent. The lessons of nocturnal vigilance are visible in the meticulous arrangement of goods, in the agora, the careful tending of livestock, and the orderly movement of citizens. Night has taught attentiveness, patience, and resilience, and those traits continue to guide daytime activities, creating a rhythm that blends labor, learning, and social cohesion. Within private homes, families navigate the delicate balance of duty and survival. Meals are prepared with the awareness of scarcity, using carefully rationed ingredients and time-honored techniques. Children observe, ask questions, and occasionally assist, absorbing knowledge about domestic management, resourcefulness, and the consequences of inattention. Each household chore is a microcosm of survival skills honed through generations, reflecting the integration of nocturnal experience into daily life in the marketplace. Haggling and trade demonstrate the practical applications of lessons learned. During the night, vendors who anticipated supply needs, organized stock, and perfected displays under torchlight now find themselves more effective in attracting customers. Buyers, too, benefit from nocturnal observation. Knowledge of seasonal patterns, product quality, and negotiation techniques enhances their success. The night's preparation manifests as efficiency, adaptability, and strategic thinking, ensuring that commerce functions smoothly and sustainably. Beyond the city. Farmers, shepherds, and hunters navigate the rural landscapes with confidence shaped by nocturnal awareness. Footpaths, water sources, and grazing patterns learned under moonlight continue to guide their decisions. The observation of weather signs, animal behaviors, and celestial patterns during the night allows for precise planning and risk mitigation. Survival and productivity are interwoven, demonstrating the critical role of nocturnal learning in shaping daytime. Strategies across the urban-rural continuum. Temples and sacred spaces maintain continuity between night and day. Priests and devotees engage in morning rituals that echo those performed under the moon, preserving sacred patterns and reinforcing social cohesion. The continuity of practice strengthens community bonds and maintains ethical and spiritual frameworks, guiding behavior and reinforcing cultural identity. The interplay of night and day in religious practice emphasizes the holistic integration of temporal cycles into human life, blending the sacred with the practical. Artisans and craftsmen continue their work, translating nocturnal preparation into tangible outputs. Pottery, metalwork, weaving, and carving reflect the precision, creativity, and attention to detail nurtured under quiet night hours. Night offered uninterrupted focus and space for experimentation, while daytime provides opportunity for dissemination, trade, and evaluation by peers and patrons. Each object carries the dual imprint of solitude and social engagement, highlighting the interplay between private skill development and public appreciation. Scholars, philosophers, and teachers extend nocturnal reflections into daytime discussions, debates, and instruction. Knowledge accumulated in the quiet hours informs arguments, refines hypotheses, and enhances educational experiences. Students benefit from this continuity as ideas crystallized at night are communicated effectively, debated rigorously, and integrated into the broader intellectual life of the city. Night thus becomes not merely a time of rest, but an incubator of understanding, insight, and civic engagement. The guards and watchmen, having transitioned from night patrols to daytime duties, illustrate the evolution of vigilance. Their attention shifts from shadowed alleys to crowded streets, marketplaces, and civic centers. Techniques refined during the night observation, coordination, and anticipatory thinking remain essential, ensuring safety and order. The city's resilience depends on this seamless adaptation, where lessons learned under darkness directly inform the management of public life. Cultural and social activities reflect the residual influence of night. Music, storytelling, athletic practice, and communal gatherings all carry elements nurtured during the nocturnal hours. Children incorporate movement, rhythm, and narrative structures observed at night into play and learning. Adults transmit practical skills, moral lessons, and cultural narratives in ways shaped by reflection and rehearsal in the quiet hours. Night thus indirectly molds the city's collective consciousness, creativity, and cohesion, reinforcing patterns that sustain community vitality as Athens moves fully into the rhythm of day. The invisible thread linking night and day becomes apparent. The city's survival, productivity, and flourishing rely on the integration of nocturnal experiences, vigilance, reflection, creativity, and preparation. Citizens navigate daily life with a blend of instinct, learned behavior, and communal knowledge, each action informed by the silent guidance of the preceding hours. Night and day form a continuous loop of learning, adaptation, and engagement, underscoring the inseparable connection between human activity and temporal cycles. As Athens approaches the peak of the day, the cumulative effects of the night's quiet, vigilance, and reflection are visible in every corner of the city. Streets are animated by purposeful movement. Merchants call out to potential buyers, artisans meticulously shape and display their creations, and children practice skills observed during the dim hours. Every action bears the imprint of prior nocturnal learning, as the wisdom and endurance cultivated in the night translates seamlessly into daytime productivity and survival. In homes, families continue to engage in routines that reinforce lessons from the night. Meals are prepared with care, water is fetched and stored, and children rehearse daily responsibilities under the watchful eyes of elders. Nighttime taught observation, timing, and patience, and these qualities now guide domestic tasks. Stories recounted by elders remind young members of the household about the value of attentiveness, caution, and ingenuity, linking myth, morality, and practical knowledge in ways that inform character and skill. Beyond the city's center, farmers and herders apply nocturnal observations to their work. Pathways, grazing areas, and water sources studied under moonlight guide daytime decisions, ensuring safety and efficiency. The rhythm of tending animals, planting crops, and monitoring the environment benefits from the detailed awareness cultivated in darkness. Night provided the uninterrupted time to notice patterns in weather, animal behavior, and the natural world. Lessons which now enable productive and adaptive daytime labor. In civic spaces, magistrates, scribes, and scholars convene to discuss governance, trade, and law. The deliberations of the night, often quiet, reflective, and analytical, now inform public policy and administrative decisions. Nighttime reflection allowed for careful consideration of consequences, risks, and ethical responsibilities, resulting in more measured and effective governance during daylight. These processes illustrate how the unseen work of night underpins the visible functioning of society. Linking preparation with action, temples and sacred precincts continue to shape daily life. Rituals performed at dawn carry the same precision and intention developed during nocturnal worship. Priests and devotees engage in ceremonial practices that reinforce social cohesion, morality, and spiritual guidance. Night provided the quiet for contemplation and devotion, which now manifests in rituals that structure both community and individual behavior. The continuity between night and day is thus spiritual, social, and practical, reflecting the integrated nature of Athenian life. Artisans and craftspeople translate nocturnal planning into tangible outputs, refining techniques and perfecting details. Bronze is hammered with accuracy, pottery is shaped with deliberation, and textiles are woven with intricate patterns. Night offered a time for focus, experimentation, and error-free practice, which now results in superior craftsmanship and the creation of objects both functional and aesthetically remarkable. The city's material culture thus bears the mark of nightly preparation, highlighting the essential interplay between quiet reflection and public expression. Cultural life flourishes as music, storytelling, and athletic activities carry forward ideas and skills rehearsed under darkness. Musicians perform melodies first practiced in solitude. Children enact games that reflect nighttime observations, and storytellers recite tales enriched by nocturnal reflection. The blending of night's quiet with day's visibility reinforces cultural continuity, ensuring that skills, traditions, and knowledge are transmitted and celebrated, strengthening communal identity and resilience. Guards and watchmen, having completed nocturnal patrols, continue their duties with heightened awareness. Techniques honed under the cover of darkness, stealth, observation, coordination are now adapted to the brighter and busier environment of the city streets. Their vigilance ensures security, deters crime, and facilitates the smooth functioning of urban life. The lessons of night are not discarded but transformed into practical strategies that maintain order and public safety throughout the day. Finally, the city's inhabitants reflect the invisible yet pervasive influence of night. Every task, conversation, and interaction demonstrates the integration of nocturnal learning into daily existence. The endurance, creativity, and observational skills honed during hours of darkness inform work, play, governance, and ritual. Night and day are interwoven, forming a continuous cycle of preparation, reflection, and action. The city thrives because its people have learned to inhabit both realms, the quiet introspection of night and the bustling engagement of day, together forming the full spectrum of human experience. With the city fully awake, the lessons of the night remain embedded in every movement and choice. Survival, productivity, culture, and spirituality all carry the imprint of hours spent under moonlight. And Athens stands as a testament to the enduring power of preparation, observation, and reflection. The interplay of darkness and light, of solitude and society, ensures that each day builds upon the wisdom and resilience cultivated in the night, creating a rhythm of life that sustains and enriches every citizen.